Good evening and welcome to the Saturday Newsroom. We broadcasting from our studios here in Kanifing along the IC Highway. I am Maria Abdem Seka and thanks for joining us. Coming up, West Africa advances carbon market readiness with high-level regional meeting in Banjul. Man arrested for alleged assault leading to son's death in Sinju, Gidom. Mohas launches Lipsin Open Science Symposium to advance research and innovation in the Gambia. And Gambia set for Senegal class as minister calls for peaceful and united support. On international news, Niger NGO Sudan cuts vital aid and deepens humanitarian crisis in Difa. Israel expands ground invasion in Lebanon and main highway between Beirut and Tide cut off. Those are the headlines and now your news in detail. Many thanks for joining us. The Gambia is hosting a strategic regional meeting organized by the West African Alliance on Carbon Markets and Climate Finance in partnership with the Ministry of Environment, Climate Change and Natural Resources of the Gambia. The event marks a key milestone as West African countries move from readiness to implementation of carbon markets under Article 6 of the Paris Agreement, strengthening the region's role in global climate finance. More in this report. This high-level event, underway at the Sir Dawda Karbajawara International Conference Center, is the Alliance's first meeting of 2026 and represents a crucial step as West African countries move from enthusiasm towards implementing carbon market mechanisms under Article 6 of the Paris Agreement. The three-day conference brings together representatives from 16 West African nations to evaluate the implications of COP30 and bolster national capacities for engaging in international carbon markets. Usman Falsar, the coordinator of West African Alliance on Carbon Markets and Climate Finance, reflected on the Alliance achievements and the significance of the gathering, emphasizing that the sub-region has been largely excluded from opportunities despite carbon market mechanisms generating billions of dollars globally.
As practical, innovative response to structural change we face. Today, this initiative is growing beyond West Africa and is inspiring as a region, gaining recognition and contributing to shaping Africa's voice in global carbon markets. Ladies and gentlemen, in a relatively short term, we have achieved significant milestones. We have strengthened regional coordination across all the 16 West African countries, continuous support to national focal points, creation of a trusted space for technical exchange and peer-to-peer learning, and we also manage to progressively build capacities across our institutions.
Carbon markets driven by Article 6 of the Paris Agreement enable governments and companies to trade emission reduction credits, funding climate initiatives such as reforestation and renewable energy projects by putting a price on carbon emissions. However, concerns remain regarding market transparency, high intermediary fees, and equitable benefit sharing with local communities, as highlighted by Carbon Market Watch. The Bicarbon Fund similarly notes a shift towards high integrity in the market, with projects required to demonstrate verified permanent carbon reductions to qualify for climate finance.
Structure. It lives through the member states. It reflects their priorities and it goes within their territories. But ladies and gentlemen, we are now at a critical turning point. Carbon markets are entering a new phase, driven by full operationalization of the Article 6 of the Paris Agreement. Because since the adoption of the Paris Agreement in 2015, we've spent exactly 10 years to finalize the rulebook last year in Belém And this shows a bit how difficult and complex the new carbon markets are. So in this new phase we are entering in, we need greater transparency, stronger governance, higher technical standards. Our countries must therefore act swiftly and strategically to establish robust and transparent regulatory frameworks.
Jonathan Dose, a representative of the West African Development Bank, a key financier partner of the Alliance, reaffirmed the commitment to supporting carbon market development in the region.
Wade is proud to serve as coordinator of the Alliance. We firmly believe that developing robust, transparent, and equitable carbon markets in West Africa represents a strategic opportunity to accelerate the implementation of our NDCs and to mobilize additional climate finance for the benefit of our people. Beyond our coordination role within the Alliance, BEWADE is actively advancing climate investment across the region.
Established in 2017, the Alliance is a member-driven platform dedicated to enhancing West Africa's role in international carbon markets, facilitating technology transfer, and securing result-based climate finance to support nationally determined contributions known as NDCs. Dr. Asmao Jibril acknowledged progress made by some countries in developing carbon market policies with Alliance support, but urged lagging nations to accelerate their efforts.
Some of the countries have gone far, yes, we know. So I call on the countries that have gone far to work with the ones coming up so that we can all progress together as a region. I see that many countries have either developed their carbon market policy or are working on it. I know that my country just some few months ago concluded our carbon market policy, and I'm sure maybe some of these countries have also that kind of update or some update on working or almost done with that. So I would like to thank the government of Gambia for hosting us in your beautiful country.
Honorable Rohit John Manjang, the Minister of Environment, Climate Change and Natural Resources of the Gambia, expressed pride in hosting the event and stressed the urgent need for honest dialogue and effective partnership to access climate financing tailored to Africa's needs.
Acknowledge the pressing challenges of accessing climate finance. That requires us being constructive, but us also being united to have a resilient but more sustainable solution to climate change. The delivery of most of the climate finance pledges, including the US $100 billion annual resource mobilization by developed countries, demonstrates the need to diversify our means of implementation, but also access to climate finance. Those carbon market and climate finance revenues are no longer optional. This is what we need. They are essential instruments for achieving climate justice and economic transformation. But let us be clear, this mechanism must work for Africa. It must work for our bloc. We need the solution, and only by teaming up we'll be able to reach our destiny together. There must be a fair, transparent, and responsive to our national priorities. We cannot afford a system that excludes our communities or undervalue our natural assets. This has far been the way as usual. So this time around we need to change that. The West Africa Alliance provides us with a powerful platform to speak with one voice, to strengthen our bargaining powers, and to build the institutional frameworks necessary to access and manage alternative climate finance effectively. In this case, the market, the carbon market. Distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, the Gambia remains committed to playing its part as an active and dedicated member of the Alliance. We are advancing policies that promote renewable energy.
Technical sessions during the meeting will provide stakeholders with detailed guidance on authorization procedures, registry systems, and reporting obligations to the UNFCCC. These efforts, officials say, are critical for mobilizing climate finance while ensuring environmental integrity and transparency. The West African Alliance membership includes Benin, Cape Verde, Cote d'Ivoire, the Gambia, Ghana, Guinea, Guinea-Bissau, Mali, Mauritania, Niger, Nigeria, Liberia, Burkina Faso, Sierra Leone, Senegal, and Togo, all committed to increasing climate finance flows and strengthening regional cooperation on carbon markets. This meeting underscores West Africa's determination to become a credible and active participant in the global carbon economy. Maria Madem, reporting for Star TV News. Now moving on, the father of 20-year-old Momodou Lamin Jawara has been arrested in connection with an alleged assault that led to his son's death in Sinchugidom, Jambur. The incident occurred on Friday, March 28, 2026, and the victim died the following day. Farata police responded to the scene and took the suspect into custody. According to the police, he is currently assisting authorities with their investigation. The deceased body has been transported to the Edward Francis Moore Teaching Hospital mortuary for a post-mortem examination to determine the precise cause of death. Police have called on the public to remain calm and refrain from speculations as the inquiry continues. Further updates will be released as the investigation progresses. Now moving on, the Ministry for Education, Research, Science and Technology has launched the Lipsin Open Science Symposium in the Gambia as part of the West and Central African Research and Education Network annual conference. Bringing together African policymakers, researchers, and education leaders, the conference focuses on digital innovation, infrastructure, and open science under the theme Connected Futures, Advancing Africa's Digital Sovereignty through Open Collaboration. More in this report by Fatima Diko.
The event was inaugurated by the Ministry of Higher Education, Research, Science and Technology, Professor Pearl Gomez, who welcomed a diverse group of stakeholders, including policymakers, academics, researchers, librarians, ICT experts, and international partners. The symposium aims to foster dialogue on open science and its critical role in strengthening the nation's research ecosystem. This section forms part of the West and Central African Research and Education Network Annual Conference and General Assembly from the 23rd to 27 March 2026 at the Sadada Keraba Jawara International Conference Center. In his opening address, Minister Gomez highlighted the recent milestone of the Gambia Research and Education Network, connecting to the West and Central African Research and Education Network backbone. He described this achievement as a vital enhancement to the Gambia's integration into regional and global knowledge network. While emphasizing the importance of improved connectivity, the minister stressed that it must be supported by robust national coordination, effective policies, and sustainable systems to ensure that increased access results in meaningful opportunities for researchers and institutions, referencing the UNESCO 2021 recommendation on open science. Professor Gomez called for the establishment for the national framework, investment in research and infrastructure, and efforts to improve the visibility and accessibility of local generated knowledge. The Lipsen's Open Science Symposium is expected to play a pivotal role in shaping a coordinated national strategy for open science in the Gambia, strengthening the country's research capacity and global collaboration. For Star TV News, I am Fatima Yediko.
Now, as the Gambia readies for a high-profile international friendly against Senegal on 31st March 2026, Minister of Youth and Sports Bakary Waipaji has urged fans to show unity, discipline and respect. The match, set to strengthen ties between the two nations, offers both teams and crucial preparation ahead of major tournaments and symbolizes the enduring brotherhood within the Senegambian region. Hadijaju has more on that. The Gambia Football Federation has confirmed that the Scorpions will take on regional rivals Senegal on Tuesday, 31st March 2026 at the Abdoulaye Wade Stadium. The fixture, scheduled during the FIFA international window, will allow both sides to field their strongest squads. Speaking ahead of the encounter, Minister of Youth and Sports Bakary Waipaji emphasized the government's commitment to sports development and highlighted the symbolic importance of the match.
waaw ñu ngi ci kawam diggante ñun ak sa ministre yi ci wàllum nguur gi ak itam ñi nga xam ne ñoo nekk Gambia Football Federation parce que ñoom ñooy toppatoo wàllum team bi ak wàllum arrangements yi nga xam ne ni moo ci war a nekk. nguur gi tamit di si jàppale ci wàllum dépense bi yooyu li ci war yëpp ñu ngi ko cee def tamit ñu ngi gën a waxtaan ak Gambien yi tamit pour ñu xam parce que xam nañ ñu bari ñoo bëgg a dem pour seetaan match bi diggante Gambie ak Sénégal ñu xam ne rek friendly match la waaw match bu am solo la boo xam ne ni Gambie bëgg naa win Sénégal yi tamit bëgg nañ pour win waaye li gën a am solo mooy ñu xam ne ñaari réew yi ñoo bokk ndey ak baay soo gisee Sénégal di célébrer seen victory trophy bi nekk African champion. ñu taamu ci Gambia ba pour invite Gambia pour ñëw because xam nañ ne bu Sénégal wi ne Gambia celebration bu mag moo fi nekkoon ñu yaakaar ne li war mooy pour ñu def friendly match boo xam ne nii dafaa gën a jokkale ñaari réew yi ci wàllum nit ñi waaye tamit dafaa gën a jokkale ñaari réew ci wàllum football waaye tam mu nekk loo xam ne nii lu ñoo gën a andi together la parce que ñoom ñu ngi prepare pour World Cup waaye Gambia tamit mu ngi prepare pour next AFCON qualifiers yi so ñaari team yëpp soxla nañ ko waaye nekk na loo xam ne ni am nañ ci yaakaar bu bari ne dina ñëw ñu def ko ci jaama ñi di nga xam ne li moo ci war.
The minister described the fixture as a symbol of brotherhood, noting that it will serve as a valuable preparation for both teams. The Gambia Football Federation confirmed the match follows an invitation from the Senegalese Football Federation, underlining the deep-rooted football ties between the two nations. Beyond competition, the encounter is expected to promote unity and cooperation within the Senegambia region. With the Gambia's main stadium still unapproved for international matches, the fixture also offers fans a rare chance to support their team abroad. Minister Baji has urged supporters to turn out in large numbers but remain peaceful and law-abiding throughout the trip.
Gambien si yëpp rek koo xam ne nii am nga jot mun a travel pour dem fekkee nga dem fekkee ñu support team ba waaye tamit ñu ngi am yaakaar ne suñu next AFCON qualifiers yi nga xam ne mu ngi door septembre fii lañ ko play ku munta demit tamit ñu xam ne mun nañoo xaar septembre incha allah di team bi national team bi dina dellusiwaat back pour ñëw di play seen qualifiers yi fii waaye li gën a am solo mooy képp kuy dem nga xam ne yaa ngi dem dëkki jàmbur te dëkk boobu am na loi ñu expect ne dinañ respect loi yi ak match bi outcome bi minti mu nekk ñu respect loi yi Sénégal xam ne dëkki jàmbur lañ nekk.
The match is not just about football. It is about unity, pride and strengthening the historic bond between the two nations. For Star TV News, I am Hadi Jaju. From the report, we will go for a short commercial break and return the news continues. Stay tuned. Welcome back after the short commercial break. If you're just tuning in, you're watching the Saturday Newsroom and we're broadcasting from our studios here in Kanifing. I am Maria Abdumseka and thanks for joining us. Let's now shift our attention to some international news. A humanitarian crisis in Niger's Difa region is getting worse. Hundreds of aid organizations have been suspended as the government tightens control over international funding. That means cuts to food and basic services for thousands of displaced people, as Victoria Canterbury reports.
Difa in southeastern Niger is already dealing with the fallout from armed groups operating in the region, along with widespread poverty. Now displaced people are facing even greater uncertainty because the charities they depend on have suspended their services. Hajia Balki is preparing a meal for her children with the little flour she has left. She's been here for nearly a decade after fleeing violence between the Nigerian army and the armed group Boko Haram.
We were not happy when some NGOs stopped their activities. Many families can no longer find enough food to eat. My most urgent need is food for my children.
The suspensions are part of a government effort to audit humanitarian aid funding and enforce new regulations. But on the ground, the immediate impact has been the loss of vital support.
We have lost a very important partner. For example, USAID supported projects promoting women's leadership and peace building in Difa.
The closures are also affecting those who relied on relief programs for work.
What the state has decided, we as citizens obey. I used to have a construction company funded by NGOs. But when they stop working, an entire chain of people is affected. Now I'm unemployed and I have children to support.
Difa is in the Lake Chad region where years of conflict have forced people from their homes. Many are from Borno State in northeastern Nigeria. Difa hosts around 175,000 displaced people and more than 120,000 refugees. There are also around 36,000 people who've returned after fleeing earlier violence, often because they have few other options. With insecurity in Difa already high and the needs of displaced families growing, there are fears the crisis could deepen in the weeks ahead. Victoria Gatenby, Al Jazeera.
The Israeli military has announced it was expanding its ground invasion in Lebanon, warning of a lengthy offensive. Israeli forces have already destroyed bridges, they said, were used by Hezbollah to cross the Litani River, and now they have cut off the main highway between the capital, Beirut, and Tyre, one of the largest cities in southern Lebanon. Azira Zaina Khudu reports from El Khasimiya in the south.
As we make our way towards the south of Lebanon, there are no signs of life. We are on what used to be the main highway to the city of Tyre. But we've had to make a diversion to the coastal road. Israeli strikes have made that route impassable. They've also disrupted lives. This is the only route that can be used to leave or reach the southern city of Tyre after the Israeli army destroyed the bridge on the main highway. The Israeli military is warning worse is yet to come. The military saying that they are preparing to deepen its ground offensive in southern Lebanon and its airstrikes against Hezbollah. On Sunday, Israel hit the M51 highway after declaring all bridges over and south of the Litani River targets. The destruction of the Qasmieh Bridge cut off the easiest route to the western sector of southern Lebanon, making it more difficult for people who still live in Tyre and southern villages to survive. Israel says Hezbollah used this to bring in weapons and fighters. For those who still haven't left their homes in the area, this was a critical lifeline to bring in food, medicine. It's not known how many people still live here, as Israeli troops push further into Lebanese territory along the border. The Lebanese army has had to abandon some of its positions south of the Litani River. The state is not a party to the conflict, and while it declared Hezbollah military activities illegal earlier this month, it's been unable to confront the group, which is promising to fight until the end. It's come at a cost. More than 1 million people have been displaced and more than 1,000 killed, and the number is climbing. The Kashmir Bridge was not the only one targeted by Israel in recent days. In fact, the Israeli military has been destroying infrastructure across southern Lebanon, whether it's fuel stations, bridges, even paramedics and health centers have come under fire. It seems to be part of a strategy to depopulate the whole southern region. The area is under Israeli evacuation orders. Those who stay know the risks, but say they have little choice.
I am still here because this is my land. This is my home. I don't want to leave it. And there are no places to go.
So much has already been lost, while Israel says fighting with Hezbollah is only just beginning, as it gradually isolates the south of Lebanon from the rest of the country. Zana Khudr, Al Jazeera, Southern Lebanon.
I'm afraid our story brings us to the end of this news bulletin, but before we go, a quick reminder of main headlines. West Africa advances carbon market readiness with high-level regional meeting in Banjul. Man arrested for alleged assault leading to son's death in Sinchu, Gidom. Mohas launches Lipsin Open Science Symposium to advance research and innovation in the Gambia. And Gambia set for Senegal class as minister calls for peaceful and united support. On international news, Niger NGO shut down cuts vital aid and deepens humanitarian crisis in Difa. Israel expands ground invasion in Lebanon and main highway between Beirut and Tyre cut off. That's all we have for you in this edition of the news. Do join us tomorrow for another bulletin. But in the meantime, do enjoy the rest of programs and have a wonderful night. Thanks for watching.